Land of woke and glory, says this particular headline. BBC Lovies sparked uproar yesterday by saying that they would ditch the words from land of hope and glory. And Rule Britannia, by the way, at the last night of the Proms. Now, I want to know from you, is this the right decision? I'm prepared to step back from my views. I think it is a terrible decision. I think it is the worst kind of BBC fudge and emphasises why reform is so required at this national institution. The whole point is, and I think Richard Littlejohn puts it pretty well, and I'll pick out some of his words, because I think, ultimately sometimes one has to turn to others just to check. Because look, I recognise I am white and middle class. I recognise that maybe I'm not necessarily the right person to comment, and I also recognise that I'm a trustee of the institution that's at the centre of the story. Meanwhile, he says the Notting Hill Carnival is a glorious celebration of the Caribbean heritage of a generation of Londoners. Good point, well made. It's one of the highlights of our cultural calendar, along with Wimbledon, Royal Ascot, the British Bog Snorkeling Championships. So imagine if someone decided that it was hideously black and had to be shorn of its steel bands, dubbed DJs, jerk chicken stalls, and colourful costumes on the grounds that it not only excludes the majority of white population, but also those of more recent arrivals from Eastern Europe and elsewhere. There'd be an outcry, rightly. So what he's saying is that, look, of course, celebrations of a national nature are going to be somewhat jingoistic. But you know what? That's what makes a culture. I love it when I go to France and they all get excited about the Marseillaise and all these places. And you go to America and they get all excited about their stars and stripes. And, that's what people get excited about. And, a nationalistic view. Unless, of course, you take the view that there should be no nation. There should be no nation state. 0344 499 1000 is my telephone number. I'd like you to tell me, have the BBC made the right decision? Surrender! It's the patriotic finale to the last night of the Proms, but now the BBC says that Rule Britannia, and indeed Land of Hope and Glory, won't be sung this year. And this is a row over the Britons Never Shall Be Saved lyrics. No, well, here on Talk Radio I say we play it. And we play it because it's great. It's Great Britain. Fantastic stuff. And the BBC should be forced into retreat. 0344 499 1000. There we go. You see, that's what it should sound like, and I recognise that you can't do that particular song, that particular piece of music in the way that it was intended, because you can't do the singing in the round. There is no audience. But couldn't you do it in a poignant way? Couldn't you do it with audiences distanced around the country? Couldn't you do it in a way where the lyrics are flashed across the screen so everybody can join in a national sing-along? Yes, of course you could. And would anybody find it offensive? Only if they look too hard. Because I think we're now living in an era where people are looking too hard for offence. They're looking to eradicate history in a way that is not healthy. I want to understand what was happening when Sir Edward Elgar wrote the music and then when the lyrics were put in place. Because it's about the time that Britain was changing. It was changing from being a sort of former colonialised imperialistic nation to one that was beginning to perhaps awaken itself that maybe some of the things that it had done in the past were not right. And it was driving that change. Surely we have to learn from history. And you only learn from history when you put history there in front of you. And also, it is a national celebration. And I know that some people get terribly upset about the fact that we're going to wave some Union flags. And, oh, good Lord, that we should ever be, nationalistic in this country. I don't think anybody from any other nation would or should feel uncomfortable about British people waving their national flag. We have nothing to apologise for. And when we start with this very strange decision by the BBC that's probably contorted itself into every kind of knot imaginable, you wonder what is the point of the national broadcaster if they're going to take decisions like this. Now, that's my view. I want yours. Is there any understanding that you have as to why the BBC would do this? Last night, the Proms, but they're not going to sing Rule Britannia. They're not going to sing Land of Hope and Glory, and that's because of the conductor that they've chosen, who apparently doesn't particularly like... Well, if you pick a Finnish conductor, then you're probably not going to get somebody who's that excited about playing British songs, are you? Particularly if they're Wokeson from the Woke Brigade. It is tragic. It's tragic. 0344 499 1000 is my telephone number. Do you agree with me that the BBC should be forced to change their minds and the BBC should take a different decision? Now, listen, I have absolutely no influence over this whatsoever. I've told you about my interest in the organisation in which they are performing, but once it's let out, it's the BBC's decision. The BBC risked a stronger backlash yesterday in a row over last night of the Proms after it confirmed that Rule Britannia and Land of Hope and Glory will be played, but without lyrics. I mean, it's a more stupid decision you couldn't wish to hear. Boris Johnson argued that the country should focus on the substance of society problems rather than the symbols. One BBC source characterised management's handling of the programme as white guys in a panic, seeking to placate the Black Lives Matter movement. They compared the affair to a recent BBC News report that depicted Winston Churchill as responsible for a Bengal famine. I mean, and this is the problem. The BBC is running scared. It's running scared because it has been overrun by every kind of political correctness imaginable, and as a result, it is not taking the right decisions in the national interest. This is not a decision in the national interest. This is a decision taken by people who simply do not have a clue. And as far as I'm concerned, if they're going to continue to take decisions like this based on... I mean, the £100 million that they're now throwing into diversity, are they really going to be diverse? Or are we talking about into certain elements of society? Are we going to see diversity in terms of, some older people on our screens, perhaps? 0344 499 1000 is my telephone number. Stop me ranting and you have yours say. I'd be delighted. Oh, hang on a second. Rule Britannia includes the lyrics, Britons never, never, never shall be slaves. Gareth Malone, the television choirmaster, told The Times that he supported removing Rule Britannia. He said if people want to go and sing about subjugation and enslavement of other nations, I don't think it should be given a platform in 2020. What kind of nonsense is this? 0344 499 1000 is my telephone number. The slaves in the song is innocuous. It rhymes with waves. Find a better word to rhyme and we'll replace it. Has the BBC tied itself in knots? Do you agree with their decision? Maybe their sort of change, if you like, is trying to move history forward, that they are responsible for a national celebration and therefore they should define what's in that celebration. Or is this just pathetic? I mean, frankly, they should have either got rid of the songs altogether or played them in full. And having looked at the lyrics, I mean, really? Are you going to tell me that there's a problem with the lyrics? Land of Hope and Glory, Mother of the Free. How shall we extol thee, who were born of thee? Wider still and wider shall thy bonds be set. God, who made thee mighty, make thee mightier yet. Land of Hope and Glory, Mother of the Free. How shall we extol thee, who are born of thee? Rule Britannia. Britannia rule the waves. I mean, really? Are we now banning these sorts of lyrics because apparently people find them offensive? I think people are getting onto a bandwagon in order to make a point. The point that they are making is not one that I wish to hear. 0344 499 1000 is my telephone number, though. Do you agree with the BBC's decision? Maybe you can educate me. Maybe you can tell me that you are offended by these lyrics. Maybe you can tell me that it's about time that we put away these particular anthems and that we looked to new anthems in order to define ourselves as a nation in a post-Brexit Britain. Because every year there's some kind of controversy at the Royal Albert Hall. Do you remember the last few years that we've seen an influx where people have been standing outside with a whole load of EU flags, sending people in with them so that they can wave them all around, making the point that, you know, people don't want to see Brexit, etc. We live in a very strange world. 0344 499 1000. That's the telephone number. I'd like you to get involved in the conversation and I'd like you to have your say. Have the BBC taken the right decision? Because to me, they've clearly just, you can imagine, I mean, you know W1A, that whole thing about the BBC. The thing is that the BBC is more W1A than W1A. Having worked for the organisation, it would have torn itself to pieces over this. They would have had meeting after meeting after meeting of all these executives, who are all paid hundreds of thousands of pounds, by the way, in order to make this daft decision. I would fire the lot of them. Seriously? Save the money, fire the lot of them. It is unbelievable what is going on within our national broadcaster. Verging on the unacceptable. It's coming to the point where I do not wish to see the money that I give to them as part of my licence fees spent in this way. I do not want to see a woke agenda foisted upon a nation. Of course, I want to see inclusivity. I want to see people challenged in their views. But I also want to see impartial news. I don't want to be told what to think, and I don't want to be told how to feel. And this is exactly what's happening through the decisions that they are taking. But I'm wondering whether you agree with me. Here's the telephone number. It's 0344 499 1000. You can, of course, tweet at Talk Radio or at the James Max. And you can get in touch via sending a text. A text? Yes. 87222. Start your text with the word talk. They cost 25p plus your standard sending charges. I want to hear from you whether you think the BBC have taken the right decision. The songs, the music of Land of Hope and Glory and Rule Britannia will be played at the last night of the Proms, but with no lyrics. I'm sorry? No lyrics. Have you ever heard of such a ridiculous decision?